Hey friends, thanks for joining me today for another video. I'm going to be sharing how I colored this bunny rabbit on the right hand side from this book, which is Ticket to Dreams by Karolina Kubikowska. And I used this image to color in for a group. It wasn't a competition, it was a thing called a one pencil challenge, and I chose to use this Prismacolor Tuscan Red PC 937. We could choose any pencil we liked, but we're not allowed white or black or anything else, not even white gel pen. So it's just a one pencil challenge. So I really enjoyed doing the challenge. I found it very freeing not to have to worry, after having chosen the color that I wanted, not to have to worry about what color palette to use or any of those kinds of things. So I really enjoyed that. So now I've zoomed in a little bit more so that you can see what I'm doing. And I decided to do a light value on the sky and everything between the trees and try to just add some color to it, really and truly, because you don't really get pink rabbits or red rabbits other than at Easter time. I just decided to go with this color and forget that it was a color representing anything other than color. And these long bits I took to be tree trunks, but actually I'm not even sure if they are or if they're just light through the trees, but I just colored away and enjoyed them and had fun. I spoke a while ago about mini habits or something, and I've been trying to kind of like develop some of my small habits and reading articles, and it actually says that to create a habit takes 21 days, even for a small one. So I've been trying to consistently get videos up now for YouTube, either every Tuesday or Wednesday, one of those 2 days, plus every Saturday or Sunday, so that I'm getting 2 a week for you guys. And I hope that you like that, and I hope that I'm bringing you some value and something that you're enjoying. So what do you think a habit is? And a habit's something you do without needing to talk yourself into it. They say that a habit's a pattern of behavior that has become normalized to the point it takes very little effort to complete, not to compete. While some habits aren't the best to have, like smoking or procrastination, I'm actually personally great at procrastination, but luckily I don't smoke. Those habits that you create with intention can be very, very good. So now, especially if you're trying to run a small business of some sort, so say you're also running a YouTube channel, or you're doing some other online business, or you have a craft shop, or like you teach from home or anything like that, I thought I'd go through some tips of ways to develop little steps to develop some small habits. So step number 1 is to map out what tasks you need to do. So if you start by spending some time mapping out what tasks you need to do on a regular basis, it could be anything like basic tasks about your bookkeeping, or building a list of videos you want to make, or what your stock is and what you want to do with it, or what cakes you want to bake if you're doing cake baking or anything like that. Or it could be bigger tasks that require more effort. So identifying what tasks need to be completed helps you organize your time and where your effort is going. So then step number 2 is create a plan for executing the habits. Knowing what tasks need to be done and creating how they'll be done are 2 different things. Goodness, excuse the birds outside, they're fighting with each other. After you identify what tasks you need to do, it's time to determine what you need to get them done. So anything you need can include doing them yourself, delegating them, or hiring someone to do them, or automating them. So, like for me, for instance, with YouTube, if I want to be sure to upload a video, if I can get the video done in time, YouTube has a great little tool where you can actually choose what time and what day you want that video to be uploaded. So that's something that I need to get myself into doing. So step number 3 is to take action. So once you identify and make a plan to create a new habit, it's time to walk things out, or to take some action. So you may decide to send an email if you've got an email list or something. You may, I'm talking from my self-experience now with YouTubing, I've made the decision that preferably Tuesday, but I'll give myself till Wednesday till I get organized, preferably Sunday. I want to get videos out, and I need to make sure I get myself organized enough into doing that. And by taking the action, you can experience what the habit feels like and evaluate over time if it's a habit worth keeping or if you need to modify it. So, from personal experience, I think that this is actually working for me. I've noticed growth in my channel. I've also noticed that I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident with chatting to you guys and coloring in front of you and putting the self-doubt and all the negative talk away. So I think that is helping. So then your 4th step would be to evaluate and make changes. So not every habit works, okay? But it's important to evaluate your tasks and the habits that you create to decide if they make sense. So again, with evaluating, you can see if you need to make little tweaks here and there, but just developing these small habits is like really useful. And I personally am finding it's helping me. And then it kind of hopefully helps you as well. Please let me know in the comments if you actually like me sharing these kind of tips and thoughts in my chat, or if you prefer me just to talk about coloring or something like that. I'm trying to see if I can add some value to you. I do want to mention here that I have a Facebook page. It's not a group. I used to have a coloring group and I closed it because I was just not coping with it, quite honestly. And so I closed it, and then I decided to open a Facebook page where I would feel free to share things I've developed that I'm selling in my Etsy shop or this or that. But I also, on that Facebook page, occasionally share coloring pages that I've drawn. And I have one up at the moment. It's a page of an angel. And I have said on the page that all you need to do is comment there, and I will speak to you, and maybe we can exchange emails or something of that nature and just see how best to get the coloring page to you. And if people enjoy this, and if you like getting coloring pages for free to print and use occasionally, then please please visit my Facebook page. I do put the link in the comments beneath this video, and just leave a comment underneath there. I also share my Instagram link, and then also if I'm publishing books these days, so I'm making some very nice notebooks that are for sale on Etsy. I've got a coloring book that's for sale, and I'm busy working on some things that could be great Christmas gifts, actually, that I will share links. And then I also share links of other people's books that they're selling, that are sort of colleagues of mine. And amongst the things that I'm selling in my Etsy shop, that talking about habits and planning this and that, is a really, really nice digital planner. So if you use an iPad or anything of that nature, I think that I've created it nicely. I've done a watercolor cover for it, and it's pretty and it's hyperlinked. So you can click on tabs and get to pages. And if you have an iPad and you like to write with your iPencil in your iPad, I would really recommend that planner. And I have shared it with somebody who says it really works very, very well. So do pop onto my Facebook page and see if there's something there that you would like. And talking about that planner brings me to mind, on this Facebook page, I've also got a comment underneath where I show the digital planner, that the first person to comment that they would like this will actually get a digital copy for free. So yeah, see if you can get there fast enough to be the first person to comment and say you'd like a digital copy for free. Okie dokie. So now we've finished with planners and things. I was thinking again about this picture, and as you can see, I've tried to do some different, I suppose gradients would be, but there's a word for when you use darker color and when you use lighter color, and of course that word has left my brain just at the moment. It will come to me now. Yes, it's called color value. So as you can see, I'm using a darker value of the color where the shadows might be, and then a lighter value where the sun would maybe be shining, just to add some interest. And it's easy enough to do that with one pencil. You just use the little circular moves and you just go over the one area with the heavier pressure, and then the lighter area with the lighter pressure. And sometimes if you're struggling to get a light pressure, it can be helpful to move your hand further backwards on the pencil. I find that helps quite a lot. So yeah, I love the feeling of Prismacolors. I love the creaminess. I'd love to hear in the comments what your favorite color pencil is. Is your favorite a soft waxy pencil or a buttery type of oil-based pencil, but that is just slightly harder than these Prismacolors, like say for instance a Faber-Castell Polychromos, or even what else is oil-based? I think Caran d'Ache Pablos are oil-based. So I'd love to know which you enjoy the most. I'd also like a couple of chatty comments, if you feel like sharing them, of what you would like me to. Is there a colouring book you'd particularly like me to do a colour and chat in? Is there a topic that you would like me to cover? Are you enjoying the content? Am I giving you something that is worthwhile for you? So now, how do you cope when you feel overwhelmed? This is also something that I've been looking at and thinking about a lot, and it goes the same as in planning in a way. And I often feel overwhelmed. And one of the things, again, just in stuff I've been reading, these aren't all my own brilliant ideas. I've been reading a lot and thinking a lot and doing soul searching. And one of the things that people procrastinate, my very big sin, is a feeling of being overwhelmed. So like if you feel like a big job is just too much to tackle, then even if you're a really dedicated person, you tend to avoid it. And I love watching the YouTuber Emma Lefebvre. She is a watercolor artist, and she was talking about how she sometimes feels overwhelmed and not good enough and struggles with this thing that we all, I think many of us that have dared to venture onto YouTube and are not brilliant artists. I think she is a brilliant artist, but I definitely am not. Feel like a bit of an imposter, so they call this imposter syndrome. But I've never pretended to be more than I am. So it again requires this sort of soul searching and looking at things and breaking things down into small things. So if I kind of liken that to running a race through the mountains or going on a smallish hike, which for me is not a very big hike at all, but any long thing, if I look at the end spot, I mean, as a matter of point, my husband and I went on a walk on Sunday, and the thought of actually going to where we wanted to go was a bit overwhelming. And I said to him, no, I didn't think I could. I wouldn't be able to breathe. I really struggle with any inclines at all. And then he said, no, well, we can stop when you want to, and we can go at the pace you want to. And so even though it required me feeling like, you're a bit of a wimp, you can't keep going, I had to stop and breathe. And we actually got where we were going, and it was such a lovely day. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and it was breaking a large task down into a small task. So it's the same as if you are a serious hiker or you do run big marathons or something. My daughter-in-law used to run Ironman things, and she would train for them, obviously, like mad. I mean, I was so impressed with her for what she could do. But she's always had a fear of swimming in the open sea, and she broke that down, and she trained, and she did things, and she kind of overcame her fear. She still doesn't enjoy that long swim, but she overcame it, and she achieved what she wanted to do. So it's, again, break down jobs that are overwhelming you into small things. Look at them one day at a time or 1 hour at a time, and keep the main thing as the main focus, and kind of reverse engineer the outcome, as it were. Imagine you're at the end, but give yourself time to get there. Next thing is to decide, what are you planning for today? So like with me, I'm writing a children's book, and I'm also writing a word search that I want to get up on Amazon, and I'm doing it for people in my age group, so sort of 60s type word search. And within doing that, I started, and I thought, oh, I've got to finish this. But for goodness sake, it's writing a book. It's like 100 pages. I need to give myself time to enjoy it, because I had such fun going through the music to put in the word searches. And I was at my computer with my earphones on, singing, see me, feel me, and it's so a wider shade of pale. And what was the other one? She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. I just had an absolute ball. There was the Supremes. There were, things that for my generation were an absolute blessing when I was young. And I had such a trip down memory lane. And then I was researching words that were cool in the 60s, like groovy, and I'm just trying to think of other words now. Of course, they've left me, but then also fashions, bell bottoms, afro hairstyles. Now I think it's possibly not, I don't know if you're allowed to say an afro anymore. I don't want to stand on anybody's toes, but you know what I mean, that big hair that just looks tremendous. And I mean, that was all new in the 60s. So then the next thing in like breaking things down is you need to see, what are you doing at the moment? So a lot of big projects have a wide variety of aspects that all matter in the greater thing, but you need to keep the main thing in focus, but break it down into what you're doing at the moment. So while I started the book and I started to feel very overwhelmed with it and thought, I'm never going to get this done, I realized, look, honey bunch, you've got yourself at least a month to write this in, so enjoy every facet. I sometimes feel like that with the coloring, like I belong to this coloring book, Color Along, that I think a few people that watch my videos also belong to. It's a really lovely coloring group. I belong to many coloring groups, but in that one we do what people on Instagram tend to call buddy colors. And so you need to commit to a few or one a month. There's not a time limit on them, but of course we all give ourselves these things that we need to get done. And I've just been loath to commit myself lately. I've just been feeling I can't do it. It's all too much. It's overwhelming me. I can't. I'm not good enough. Boo-hoo, where is me? And again, with this whole researching in trying to run a business, which is how I look on my YouTube and my publishing and all of that, one needs to break things down. And I love colouring, and then I said a few weeks ago I decided to stop trying to be this brilliant colourist, but simply share what I know and be generous with my knowledge, which I'm always happy to be, and share it and enjoy doing it. So that's that. So sometimes another tip about dealing with overwhelm is to start at the end and work backwards. And so it's kind of great to have goals. They're necessary and they're worthy. And deciding to make a product or have an outcome or start a new service or whatever you're going to do in your business or whatever you're trying to do, you could tackle the project by working backwards. If the goal's a product, work backwards in a step-by-step manner to list out the actions that must happen to get to the goal. Then tackle them in reverse order if that's possible. Obviously, if you're making a car, you can't do that. This creates small tasks that ultimately end up accumulating with the goal complete. Now, I use that particular technique in singing. So if any of you that are watching my videos are singers or enjoy singing or something, often when you start, or even pianists or violinists, when you start a piece of music, you tend to start at the beginning because you open your book, you sit down to practice. And particularly when it comes to singing, you're physically tired by the time you reach, if it's a big aria, if it's a big song, some of them can be 7 pages. And usually that last page, especially if it's an operatic aria, is where the fireworks happen. And you're tired when you get there. So you're always practicing that final thing with a tired body. And the body has a memory and the body remembers, oh, this is difficult, I can't do it. So when it comes to learning pieces of music, this little bit of advice of starting at the end is really very worthwhile, because if you start at the end, you start with a fresh body and a fresh physical feeling, and you can break down that last page of music into little bits, and each time you sing it, you get it better and better. Then you go back to the beginning, and then you start at the middle, then you start at the end again, and then you bring the whole thing together. And by the time you get to fireworks page at the end, your body doesn't stop having a memory, but it remembers being capable. It remembers having the energy and the ability to actually deal with the physical aspects of that difficult last page. So in any kind of business, if you're writing, my husband does computer design and things, and he always has to plan out, what does the client want? What is the end product that I'm trying to get to, and has to find little bits to break the thing into before he can start writing and designing the little bits. Now, I think the same would come to a coloring page. If you're a great artist, you might get a fantastic vision when you see it. But in a way, we're lucky with coloring pages because there is an end product there for us already to fill in. We're not faced with this artist's terror of the blank white page of where do I start. We've actually already got an artist's impression of something. If we're then still overwhelmed, it's nice to visit Pinterest, to visit Instagram, to look in Facebook groups and see pictures. I sometimes need to figure out, like in any entangled type of picture, I need to figure out what is what because my brain doesn't do it. I really, really struggled with entangled types of pictures. Picture like this is lovely for me because it's obvious what's a leaf, what's a rabbit, what's a tree. But some pictures, you look at them and you think, heavens, what's that? So to find a colored picture by somebody like Chris Cheng or Julie Bouve or their Peter Hewitt, Color with Claire. There are some fantastic colorists around there to look at completed pictures on Instagram. Gives you an idea. Then you can think, oh, I like that, but that's not me. Oh, I like that, that's me. Oh, I like that picture's colors, but I like the way they did that picture. And it gets you with an end product in your mind that you can start with and breaks down your project into smaller bits. So I hope that has been helpful for you. I decided to leave this video in real-time coloring so that you can actually see that the pictures don't get done so quickly, although the leaves and the trees on the other side I did off camera, just so that the video wasn't forever long. But I just thought sometimes rather than doing a speeded up version, because it also shows, I know when I watch people color, I like speeded up versions because sometimes the videos are too long, but it does give me this kind of feeling like, oh my word, they color so quickly. Why am I such a slow coach? So it's sometimes nice to see something in real time. I think I've prattled enough now, and I'm going to add some nice relaxing music for you to listen to. And let me know if you've enjoyed the kind of chat, if you find anything helpful, and please look me up on my Facebook page and see if you can grab a freebie or two there. Okay, I hope you enjoy this music. So now I've nearly finished this side of the picture, and I've done the other side of the flower of the leaves off camera, and then I'll come back to show you how I did. I decided it's not actually a bunny rabbit, it's a hare. So I added little bits of darkening where she's got all of her dots and things, and I tried to work with a sharp pencil here to kind of get a darker shading happening. So as you can see, the whole picture is finished except for the hair, and I did this in I really only used what the artist gave me. So I very lightly went over her shading areas because she's done it so beautifully, and in some of the places I followed her hatching lines and tried to do those fairly darkly. Some of them again, to try and give a little bit of difference in dark and light, I just did some light shading. You can see how bringing that little bit of shading in has brought the foreground forward so far. It's actually quite fascinating to see what color can do. And then I'm just using some hatching and cross hatching as she's done, but in this color. So it's really going over her lines. And now that's again allowed that inner part of the ear to recede back a little bit. So I hope that you've enjoyed watching this. I really loved doing this. And I've got a surprise video coming up quite soon. I'm not going to say anything right now. I'm going to tell you later what it's going to be. But I'm not going to say it. We're going to reveal what we're going to do together. And just did this. While I was colouring this thing I'm listening to, I think it's another call. I want to say Corcoran Strike, but it's not. It's Blood Hollow by William Kent Kruger. I think it's number 3 or number 4 in the series. And I can't remember. Gosh, that's terrible. I've just been listening. Can't remember who the detective is. But I'm really liking this series. It's been nice to listen to. So again, as you bring the color in, it's interesting that the red makes the white actually stand out a little bit more, almost, than the black. The paper in this book is absolutely incredible. It's really, really nice. It's thick, and I mean, it could take wet media, I'm pretty sure, but I used wet media in my last 2 Crayola things, so I decided just to go with pencils this time, and been enjoying it. Do any of you guys like watching unboxing videos? I watch this one lady that unboxes all sorts of face goodies and home goodies and all sorts of nice stuff, and she actually has companies that send her things. I'm not in that league and do not get such. I've occasionally been lucky and had people that watch my videos spoil me and send me things, and for that I'm immensely grateful. It's just such a treat and something I really don't expect and have really loved having. So I'm just going to put a little bit of music on, and then this video will be done. So here we have our completed image, and I'm actually really happy with how this ended up. I've just removed the page that was behind it. Excuse me, I'm busy sucking a peppermint at the moment. I can never tell from my little video screen that I'm busy recording where the edges are exactly, so I was trying to center this page. Thank you so much for watching, and please join me again in the next video. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye now.